Walking on water. What a show. And of course they are working with not just one but two female males as well. And their names are Keela and Born Gray. And as they get older and older, they get whiter and whiter. So Laura, who is the mother, is older. She doesn't have quite as much gray. If you look around Keela's eyes or blowhole, a little bit more gray coloration. And yes, Keela just turned 18 this last summer, so there is still some of that gray left over. But the color should give you some idea as to where you actually find beluga whales. And I mentioned that they are Canada's most abundant whale, but if that's the case, which ocean are we hiding them on? Does anyone know? Where do you find beluga whales? No, that's white ice, that makes sense, sure. However, it is a very extreme environment. And how does a beluga whale, and if you happen to be called a beluga, it's usually not a compliment. It's absolutely not a blubber. These whales put on. How do they find enough food to get this fat layer? Well, they're very opportunistic in terms of their feeding strategies. And to demonstrate that, we need a volunteer who's at least this high, who's not afraid of getting wet. We got one. Come on up. Round of applause. We have the lovely
Nicole.
Is there anyone you want to say hi to, Nicole?
Colin and Carly.
Let's stare awkwardly at Colin and Carly. Okay, I need you to stand right up here. And look longingly into the distance like you're on an ice floe in the Arctic and you're surrounded by them. And just stay here, keep your mouth closed. I need to watch them over here because I've seen it before. What just happened? No, my God.
Refreshing and
refreshing and salty. A round of applause. Now you may be thinking, and rightly so, hey, wait a minute, belugas don't eat people. Why are they spinning in the air? Well, no, you're very, very correct. They actually swim in shallow water, and they've got flexible lips like you and I. They can actually spit. And Nicole demonstrated that very well. And they spit into the ground. They stir it up. They find things like clams, like snails, like marine worms, things you may not picture whales eating, but yeah, you're going to put on the pounds in the Arctic. Look into our habitat. You may notice a source of vitamins and nutrients and, yes, protein. About 850 kilograms worth, give or take. And that's a whole lot of protein. And the mukta, the blubber on these animals, on seals, on walruses, and what does it have to do with us? Wait here. Oh no, because we don't look at these animals as food source. What we know about the underlying diet. It's one of the several energy conservation initiatives out there that encourages us to think about where our food comes from and also how much energy we burn. We know that the effects of climate change are being felt in the Arctic. And that affects these guys. Because their food chain starts off way at the bottom, something very exciting. Algae. Which is terribly boring. However, if you look at our exhibit, you'll look at some good flotation. And certainly, if you've never seen a whale before, yeah, there it is. There's a whale. People come here to see whales. People go on straight to Georgia trying to get killer whales. But in terms of even comparing them with other whales and dolphins, if you look for a dorsal fin of some sort, you're not going to find too much of anything. They have what's known as a dorsal ridge. You can't actually tell individuals apart. There's a picture of that dorsal ridge with different nicks and cuts in them. However, if you're not looking for them, especially if the sun is right there, you might not see them until it's too late. And that's one of the reasons why the St. Lawrence population isn't that large. There's only maybe 800-900 individuals. There's still involved quite a few ships from us, which is unfortunate. And also living downstream of the Great Lakes, some of the largest cities in North America around the Great Lakes, lots of toxins, lots of pollutants in the water. It does beg the question, how do these animals even survive there? Well, it's a unique area geographically. It's an estuary. Lakes, the rivers, meet the ocean, it stirs it all up. There's a lot of food to be found in the water column. And also, it's shallow, which is somewhat unique for whales. And if you watch our habitat, you watch the animals, they get into these really shallow areas. And why do they even use these areas? Well, that gray skin that I mentioned at the beginning that they're born with, they don't have opposable thumbs, they can't use a loofah. They actually get into shallow water and will rub their bodies up against the edges of the ground. And yes, the edges of our exhibit as well. So, yeah, they're neat areas to live in. Also being gray, born gray, if you happen to be in water that is quite murky, you might be able to swim in from deeper waters and perhaps hide if you need to in shallow water, as Keela is now demonstrating. She's not really hiding, just kind of demonstrating. Usually if a whale is in shallow water like that, they're beached. That's the end of the whale. But you can see here, get in, they can get out. Very awesome. Not only are they able to perhaps avoid potential predators, but they can hide from each other if they really need to. And they probably don't, but whenever the water is quite murky, they usually communicate among each other with sound. And if you listen closely, every now and again on the wind here in Stanley Park, you can hear belugas. Very nice. Round of applause. Fish really moving. Now you may be wondering, how do we train the belugas to vocalize in such a fashion? And in truth, it's not actually us that trains those particular vocals. They train each other. It's fairly awesome. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. See, it sounds pretty ridiculous. You can imagine if you're trying to learn how to create the sounds of the animals around you, and you're competing with and mechanical noises. Maybe growing up in a busy estuary, it may not be ideal. And it sounds like common sense, so yeah, you'll be able to hear yourself. But it's one of the things that's actually been truly discovered and finalized here at the Vancouver Aquarium. Because again, it's impossible to talk about belugas in Canada, and I'll mention we've had belugas here since the 60s. And we've been able to get up close and personal and learn an awful lot about Canada's most abundant whale by being able to work with them so closely. And what is it like to actually work with a beluga? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a couple trainers in the habitat. One of them has a headset. Her name, Janessa.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, everybody. I'm giving you a wave so you can see where my voice is coming from. Working with marine mammals has always been something that I've wanted to do. Now today I get to work with Keela, known as a pet present. And from this position, I'm better able to get a good look at her body and make sure there are no new cuts or scrapes. We can also ask for more advanced husbandry behaviors, such as urine samples or blood samples, to ensure that our whales are just as healthy on the inside as they are on the outside. It is our relationships with both Keela and Aurora that allows us to participate in those meaningful research projects to help better protect these incredible animals. Back to you, Alex.
Thank you, Janessa. People have never seen these animals before, and I point out that no, we don't have these animals swimming in the Fraser or the Strait of Georgia. But we do have connections with them. And if there are any small changes we can make on a day-to-day basis to affect their lives, whether that be trying to find ways to reduce the amount of energy that we use or how much garbage we're sending downstream, well, it's just the right thing. But what about a big change? What about something in the size of perhaps a beluga whale? And those are pretty big changes. That's 850 kilograms worth. But as an institution, we're always looking at different things. Compost, knives, and forks. Yeah! Depending on what you make them out of, give them a shot. And that way, hopefully, yes, we can make sure that not only does the water stay clean for these animals, but also the Arctic stays as chilly as possible. And if you're wondering, well, exactly how cold are those Arctic waters? If you're in the splash zone area, you are in luck. Because I believe Aurora is about to deliver a tail sweep. And that's usually where we end up. On behalf of myself, the trainers, and our remarkable beluga whales, again, my name is Alex. If you have any questions for myself or the trainers, just give them a moment to finish up and reach over to the far side. I have been underwater. I say a lot of these animals, I do encourage you. There's stairs and an elevator on the far side. Yes, they're big.